just for a chance at peace. Here's the catch. There is a difference between me giving away $100 and putting $100 in savings. What they got told was to give it away for destruction. What they said is we're willing to put it in storage.
You're watching a reel or whatever, or a YouTube video of like a person that's getting one-shotted by AI. It's almost always middle-aged to older people. Same thing when you see like AI slop, it's always older people in the comments section.
But you're talking about like believing fake news?
I'm saying that people that like derive value from AI as it stands right now, I'm not denying that maybe in the future this could change, but as like
How many people
AI where it is right now, like young people perhaps, or people broadly that are just smart enough to detect AI versus not AI.
It's not about detecting AI. We're not talking about it.
But what
We're
I'm
talking about why would I spend $1 million making a movie I can make for $100 using AI? And that the quality will be lower, but it won't matter because I can produce 7,000 of these movies in the span that it takes you to make half of the movie.
But what I'm getting at is like a lot of these people that will be interacting with AI slop were already interacting with slop to begin with. I mean, why were these Marvel movies doing so well? Why is the radio filled with garbage? It's like because people broadly just have bad taste. So I'm like, AI, I think for people that are producing content that is high quality will always be able to find an audience of people that are seeking out high quality content. I think that's just going to be a truth that's going, because again, when you look at who's getting one-shotted on the AI slop, it's like literally stupid.
So I will pause you right now and say that's literally the opposite of what is currently happening and has been for the last year, so you're just dead wrong.
Well, I think podcasting is declining because people have 2 hours a day.
It's not podcasting. Everything is going down. Every form of content
Odyssey
is declining.
and Spider-Man just crushed the like box office records. Like
Sure,
definitely.
Because
Shane Gillis is selling out stadiums. I mean,
these things exist.
Yeah, we're getting a huge return.
These things exist, but we know that Gen Alpha is a smaller generation. So outside of the content explosion, you've got obviously big movies. Spider-Man, like when the woke stuff dropped off, Spider-Man is just following the trend we had already seen with the massive explosion of movies making more money than ever made. The big movies, like what did Star Wars make? Like $1 million in the box office? Like not even that much money.
It wasn't that much.
And now we're in the era of the $1 billion movie, basically since Marvel started. So you do have that. But when you are looking at social media, AI generated content, first, they're already using AI in these movies. They're already cutting their cost with it, which is the point.
Yeah.
When you can go on Disney and say, I want to watch Spider-Man Brand New Day Part 2, and it can render it for you in 20 minutes, no one is going to want to invest $500 million in this when they can invest $50 million in this, but half of it's AI. And that trend's going to continue, and you are going to get 700 Spider-Man movies of this quality, and like maybe in 5 years we'll be there. We're already at the point where commercial grade AI can make 5-minute short films, and I didn't even think we were going to be here 6 months ago. I was like, wow, maybe in a year with Sea Dance 3 we're going to see these 17-minute short films. Sure enough, they've already got commercial grade American AI 5-minute short films, and people are starting to make tons of these things. The video essay, the mini podcast, mini documentaries, all getting erased, viewership rapidly declining. And this is the natural cycle of all content. You know, in the early days of YouTube, you had a big audience and few creators, so people were getting 1 million views. Those same creators by 2013 were getting 50,000. And they were like, what happened? Well, more and more content is coming out and less people can consume. People don't have the time during the day. But if you look at how much carousel content people are consuming per day, it's hours worth of content. So this has dramatically displaced the podcast, for which people were doing about 1.5 podcasts per day, or they were doing pieces of each. That's getting wiped out. Video essays are getting wiped out. So it's not even just about like a podcast. The 10-minute video is getting wiped out. It's not about how much time people have during the day. It's that if a single human can produce 10-minute segments in their morning show, but an Indian guy can produce 7,000, it's impossible to compete with it. And that happened a year ago. So we're in it right now. I'm tracking all the numbers. We've been watching for it. Will it get worse? I don't see why it would not. But where we are right now is we're already past the point that you were describing.
Well, I mean, yes and no, but I guess what I'm getting at is you're seeing a lot of people return to analog experiences. I think what we're seeing right now is the mass disengagement of Americans from social media in general. Not that they're not spending time on their phones, clearly they are, but everyone is saying the same thing, which is Twitter sucks, Instagram is useless, like I can't even see my friends anymore, there's nothing good on YouTube anymore. People are like piling back into like early 2000s, like TV, movies, stand-up comedy, sports is probably bigger than ever. So I think what we're seeing right now is the mass.
Definitely massive. I think that's the one thing that's keep going. I'll cut you off for one.
No, I was just saying mass disengagement from social media.
And that's the interesting thing for me. It's like I'm in that sports space, and it's like X is still such a great place to get just really rapid fire sports content. Yeah, you'll get some of the same videos over and over, but keep going.
No, well, I mean that one thing was like the World Cup, because it was like, oh wow, like this will be interesting to see who wins the semifinal, and then like porn video, guy get his head cut off, and then more World Cup news. You're like, okay, great, yeah, X is awesome, the everything platform. No, but I know what you mean. But I think what we're seeing right now is more just like kind of a maybe. I think these social media companies are going to be an interesting bind. It's like, okay, do we ensure we dominate in the third world for eternity, or do we like recapture American hearts and minds? And right now, it seems like they're opting for the third world because it seems like Americans are just saying, okay, we're done with like YouTube, etc. We're going back to the movies. We're going to watch Shane Gillis perform, or who you name it. Every comedian's crushing right now. We're going to go see. We're going to go see this local sports game, the World Cup, shattered numbers. The World Cup tickets like $1,500, people were still paying for it.
Shane Gillis did sell 76,000 seats, but there's also blips. So there's one Gen Z stadium seller, Olivia Rodrigo, and then the rest of the younger generation can do arenas if they're lucky. Culture is fractured. And the other thing to consider is AI music taking over. We're already seeing studios being like, we're going to start producing with AI. There's a bunch of songs already released from legitimate human artists that use AI without people knowing.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like
on the debate
and I want to be like careful I say this. The AI getting involved in music is just displacing people that I don't think anyone would call very good music anyway. Like a lot of rap music is heavily AI influenced now. But that's not really like fine art. Like that's not music that people were listening to.
Don't tell Christopher Nolan that. No, I see. This is the argument I heard in the '90s. I remember when I was a kid, people were like, electronic music is fake. Learn an instrument. Me and my friends in the 2000s were using Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
And then we heard from all these older guys. They were like, learn a real instrument. This is fake music. And then what happened? They all got displaced by electronic production.
Yeah, but you're seeing a push back into like more analog music again. I mean, like Ella Langley's #1 on the charts right now, and like that's. I mean, yes, there's obviously electronics involved in the production of her music, but generally it has this very acoustic, kind of analog sound. And I think like, I mean, yes, AI is obviously a threat to creative roles. I'm not denying that, but what I'm trying to like get at is I think a lot of this is just like cultural movements. Like I think people right now are just kind of burnt out on social media. They're like, I got on this, the contract when I got on Instagram was I was going to see what my friends were up to, and now I can't do that anymore. So I'm off. Like my screen time has gone down rapidly, and I get effectively paid to post. And I hate Twitter now. I deleted it from my phone. I just get on my desktop and use it because it's like literally unusable.
But I think also you made a great point. The social contract, I completely agree with this, was I want to see what my friends are up to. And now the only thing I ever get fed is what random people I don't give a shit are doing, and they're all saying the same stupid things.
Yeah, I think people are I think we're seeing a mass crash out, and I think again, I'm sure there's people in America that are just completely like slaves to their social media, but like they were going to be that way anyway. Like these are people that were never pushing culture forward to begin with.
And all these people want to be content creators, and I mean this is coming from me, content creator, and I make a living off social media. I think most people, they want to say, I'm giving a political take on this, or I need to find a niche there, and I need to be able to build my brand. There's people, I wonder how many people are actually using social media just to post that stuff that we used to enjoy back in the day. Probably not a lot. They're probably just consuming.
Yeah.
They're probably not just actually providing any sort of, here's my family and the kids, and then we went on this vacation, or like it's all, I have to give a take on something politically. I'm building my brand. That's what social media is.
Well, and the fundamental problem with like this phenomenon that I'm suggesting, which is like the great disengagement, is people aren't disengaging in like having families and like, I don't know, doing healthy things. The problem is that they're disengaging, but engaging with what we were talking about earlier, which is sports betting, like stuff that's not good for you. So yes, they're disengaging from social media, good, I guess, but they're not pushing into like tradition again or like anything that would be like uplifting to the soul. Most of them are just finding something else that will like slowly chip away at them.
Well, they're trying to find an outlet. Actually, this is a good point as to why maybe gambling content, sports betting, casino gambling, poker are taking off. It's because it's the one thing where you can't say something we didn't hear before. If you want to see something new, something different, it's not going to last forever, but it's watching the person say, here's a thing that never happened before, and people are like, whoa, a thing.
Yeah, well, that's why what is sort of becoming the central of the room, the center of the room is content that is like clavicular. We've never seen that before. But once you see it once, there's a reason why there's not other claviculars popping up. Okay, they exist, but like no one's as big as he was at his peak. Because no one, we got it, but like we move on.
Clavicular's not big.
Right, but as far as like, taking up the gravity in a certain space, I'm just using him because everyone in the audience will know who he is. So I'm just saying like, this is a guy that, he wowed everyone, but he didn't create a industry of claviculars. It was just, that was that guy. That was a weird thing.
Something new.
Yeah.
Something different.
Let's find something else.
Because literally everything online every day is the same. And people chat here, and I totally get it. They're like, it's the 17th episode of the same exact thing that Timcast crew is talking about again.
It's like, what do you want us to complain about the Save Act for the 50th time? I do this on the Rumble show where I'll be going through the news and I'll like look at chat. I'm like, does anyone care? We're about to have 20 Rumble shows after me that are going to talk about the exact same thing. Do you want me to just talk about like, I don't know, gooning or something? And then typically the chat's like, yeah, actually.
Well, the truth is, we want pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Well, but it's not even a joke. This is people wanted something new to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are looking for some kind of escape from the mundane of the political world, especially seeing as there was so much energy around Donald Trump being reelected, and then there is a lot of people that feel let down. So there's a lot of people that are just like but this goes back to the whole argument about people are really cynical, people are checking out of politics. It's like, when it comes to people that get their hopes up for some kind of big change and they put all their eggs in the Donald Trump basket, and then he doesn't deliver the way that they wanted him to or the way that they think that he should have, it's really hard to not be like, it never changes. Like Brett, he says all the time, he's like, things happen, but nothing ever changes.
Yeah, well, and
there's validity to that.
And I think this is the way to like properly understand Gen Z as well. Is like, okay, like sure, you have a far left element that exists in virtually every generation, but I think the vast majority of Zoomers would probably vote for the Democrat Party. They do vote for the Democrat Party actually, but they aren't like culturally like leftists. Like, they are pretty nihilistic. They think people that care a lot about politics are cringe. It's just when it comes down to brass tacks, it turns out that the policies that they would want to see are actually closer to what the Democrats would support. So that's why people are getting this perception that like, like the vulgar wave is back, right? Like, this kind of 2000s monoculture is back, but it's not like the Republicans are dominating now. Like, okay, yes, the institutions are becoming less obviously leftist, but it's not like the Republicans are necessarily dominating now. And it's like, yeah, because they'll still vote for the Democrats. It's just they aren't interested in like Victoria's Secret having fat people everywhere.
I also want to stress there's no great battle right now. Spider-Man hit $1 billion in 3 days. Woke is gone. I mean, it's like not literally. I know there's still elements there, and get Hassan Piker and these weirdos. But as far as the threat to people's jobs, like you were saying earlier, no one's going to lose their job over saying retard.
No. Yep. I mean,
and that was the big deal. Like, it wasn't.
It's lost its fastball. I think that'd be the way I would.
Well, that's the thing that people got upset about is the most mundane, social faux pas would end up ruining people. That woman the first person that got really canceled, that woman that got on a plane, and when she came back, she lost her job because she said, Netflix, I'm going to Africa, I hope I don't get AIDS, or, haha, just kidding, I'm white. Like, she was, it was fairly self-deprecating, and she was, like, her life was annihilated.
Nick Sandman, he like looked at an Indian weird, and they like tried to like...
Well, yeah, but the point that I'm making is, like, the social attacks for the most mundane, silly things are probably over. If you do something that's actually offensive to a lot of people, then there might be some kind of call for, like, you have accountability or whatever kind of gay thing they want to call it. But, like, the fact of the matter is, if you're just kind of like, look, I have these opinions and they're not 100% in line with what's politically correct, most people are just like, meh, whatever. the real fire behind woke is basically gone.
Yeah, they still have a lot of their tools. I would say, like, they're still able to impose their will if needed. But yeah, they've lost their fastball, and it doesn't. I think the reason why a lot of people feel like the boot's off their neck is because it's not as like in your face. I mean, like, again, you go through Victoria's Secret, there's actually like normal looking people on there again. It doesn't look like the barb scene from Star Wars. You go to the movies, and it's not like obviously subversive. You kind of gotta look between the lines to see how it's subversive. So, and even at sports games, like, they've kind of like stopped doing the kneeling and all that. So, things are kind of
definitely still very
woke,
very left wing. I mean, even
benchmark came so high during 2020 that, like, now that it's coming down, we're like, whew.
Yeah, and I think there's some sports leagues like the NFL, they've learned their lesson a little bit, but there's still going to be remnants of that stuff, and I wonder how long those remnants are going to last. Like, the Super Bowl still has a black national anthem.
Yeah, literally.
They're still virtue signaling, but yeah, I mean, obviously the peak between 2020 to 2022, people tuned out. And you're talking about, like, why does Spider-Man work so well? Because this is the actual outlet away from the culture war and politics, and it's a place where you put your phone away. Like, where's the other place within your life that you put your phone away for 2+ hours? It's like, where? And then actually be entertained and not leave a movie theater thinking like, oh man, they really tried to push a message or an agenda or like this, that, or the other thing in previews. It's like, no, you actually got away for a few hours. It was an outlet, and you enjoyed it, and that's why it's like, oh, I want to go to the movie theater now. And
there's always going to be a market for that, right? So an escape from the day-to-day things that you have to worry about. So, like, whether it be Spider-Man or whatever movie.
And sports used to be. I think they're getting back.
I think sports are definitely back to where that was. Like, I think sports are at like apex right now. I mean, the World Cup was huge. People that didn't care about soccer at all were like, finally, something that, like, people are excited to be in America, I'm interested. And then they watch it, and they're like, yeah, it's kind of a fun product, I guess. And it's like, everywhere in the world is watching it, certainly in America. That just shows you, like, sports is at its peak right now. Like, everyone, a lot of conservatives who are like, oh, sports ball or goy ball. It's like, dude, you don't understand that people are engaging in sports because they're sick of the politics.
Well, and even a lot of people, like,
partisanship out without having to be political.
And even, like, in America, I mean, soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but most people that don't care about soccer, they're like, I care about America. And I'm actually, it's not like the women's national team.
Yeah, where they're like,
that just like the Megan Rapinoe's out there and Alex Morgan, and they're pushing some stupid agenda. They're like, wow, this actually is an escape. I feel patriotic.
Yeah.
They're singing Country Roads. This is great. And then that's on the back of our men's hockey team winning gold in hockey in the Olympics. I mean, that's.
Well, and this is how, like, it functions with soccer and Europe. This, I think, functions across all sports in the United States. Is it's like a release valve for, like, partisanship. Where, like, men, to be fair, like, I think about Scotland and it's so liberal. And I'm like, if the green team and the blue team would just, like, lock in, like, take their country back, there probably won't be many migrants there for much longer. But, like, that's what I'm getting at, is the point of sports is that it typically grows in popularity when people want to, like, get that partisanship out, like, oh, I hate the New York Nets or the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm a New York Knicks fan till I die. And it's like, because that allows you to get out the partisanship without making you feel bad and getting involved in politics and, like, actually maybe hurt.
I mean, I wonder, there's big stuff going on with New York, like Mamdani's doing. Let's do this. Let's pull this story up. This is, the end is nigh, I guess. Nobody cares, though. Mamdani says no ID for voting, but bring one to his government grocery stores. Sort of a library card-esque thing. Okay, I'm going to give the quick version. Mamdani's opening grocery stores. They're going to set the prices 30% below retail at their store, hold that price for the month, then reassess every month, and keep their prices 30% lower than the competition. The expectation is that surrounding grocery stores can't compete with a government-run grocery store, so they'll lose a percentage. They'll lose a decent percentage of their customer base, which will cause a collapse of these businesses. As it does, ultimately these stores will go out of business. They'll be forced to lower their prices, trimming their margins, which are already small. They'll end up losing customers anyway because you can't compete with 30% off, because they operate on like 5% margins if they're lucky. It could be 2%. Go out of business. Here's the best part. This will result in a food desert, where your only grocery store is the Mamdani City grocery store. But because now people who used to go to 6 bodegas are going to 1 store, they will not be able to keep it stocked. It's not that big. This will result in shortages, but fear not. With their new library card-esque thing, they'll make sure you're only purchasing 1 loaf of bread and 1 gallon of milk per week. So now, as you wait in your bread line for your bread, and you go to buy it, they're going to say, I got to scan your card. They're going to scan it and say, I'm sorry, someone in your household already bought bread this week, so you can't have any more. And now you're literally looking at a Soviet-style system. This is why it's failed every country it's been tried in. It's why it failed even 15 years ago in Venezuela. Mamdani knows what he is doing. And so the bigger picture of what we're talking about is that everyone's checked out, no one cares about politics anymore, and it's worse than it's ever been in New York City. But hey, Mamdani came out and lied, claiming that he got DoorDash drivers tips. And so, bread and circuses, baby. Your peasant workers who spend more money on their vehicles because of wear and tear, who don't realize they're getting ripped to shred by these delivery apps and by Uber, are now getting slightly more tips. It's like the people standing outside screaming, we're suffering, and Mamdani comes out and throws bread at them and says, I've solved your problems.
Yeah, the arbitrage opportunity is going to be like sick. Like you'll be able to totally like print. If you manage to get your hands on a library card in New York, you can go on there. Because I think what the proposal is, well, it's not, they're building one in the Bronx, is 30% off of all essential goods like meat, dairy, bread, etc. So you just buy that at a 30% discount. Dude, New York already has so many illegal street sellers anyway. Like when I lived in Queens, it would be on the BQE traffic, and they would have these little Colombian women like weave in and out with like pretzels and like fruit and stuff. So those are going to be the ones that are going to like, ultimately end up with a lot of these things and then sell it to us. The people the people that magically are unable to get access to these grocery stores.
But hold on,
all of us.
This is why he doesn't say it, but it's a fact. You will be rationed at these stores. Mamdani was asked, what if someone comes in and starts buying them up? And he's like, well, we don't want resellers to buy it at cheap and sell it higher. So there will be like, he brings in this woman and she's like a sort of library card thing. The implication is that they're going to restrict how much one person or household can buy. That's the only way you can do it.
Yep.
So when they put everyone out of business, you will then go in and get your allotment of milk like the communists did in Soviet Union.
It will be interesting if treating these like the Pokemon that comes out of Target. You can only buy so much. Yeah. That's what's crazy. That's the first thing I think of is like you're treating bread and milk and groceries like new Pokemon blaster boxes that are coming.
I heard
it only gets so much.
This creates a. I'm sorry, Phil.
I heard a really good, a really interesting take by Freeberg on the All In podcast. He was saying that he thinks that these are going to be extremely popular. They're going to work for a while because it's going to take time for the disruption to actually filter through the whole city and stuff. And so they're going to get short-term wins on these, and you're going to see a lot of people clamoring for these in other cities in the country because, again, if these work for 2-3 years, that's long enough for people to be like, oh, it worked in New York, it can work here, and demand that, you get these kind of things in Chicago, you get them in certain parts of LA, but Seattle's going to follow suit because they've got a communist mayor. And so you're going to see a lot of this stuff turn into a short-term win for the far left because people will vote because you give them free stuff, right? If you end up getting people free things and they feel like they're benefiting from a politician, even if it's a communist or what have you, they're going to say, oh, this is actually good, this is working. And most people are going to think, look, we know that the rich don't have to pay their taxes and the rich get all this and blah, blah, blah. So it's time that we got something. These things are
it seems like the new diesel student loan debt.
Kind of, yeah. It's going to work for a short amount of time and by short amount of time, I mean 3 to 5 years. And you're going to see these things pop up and it's going to turn into democratic socialists winning more victories, more electoral victories because of this stuff. And it's going to give socialism, it's going to polish socialism up and it's going to make it look good. And that doesn't mean that it's going to work long term because obviously they don't have the funds. You can't continue to do this forever, but they can work in the short term and that can turn into electoral victories, which is bad down the road for the U.S.
I think absolutely. Like that's kind of the clear bill here is that because they're only doing 5 of them, but they're doing them in 5 boroughs. Like this is gonna function for like 15 years.
It'll function.
You really think so?
Yeah, easily.
How am I the only one who thinks that this can't last for more than like 3 weeks because one buys everything?
Because there's only one of them in each borough.
That's like you can, and then they have a private grocery operator coming in. So like basically,
you think I just can't see them being able to replace stuff as fast as people will be buying it for 30% of the price. Maybe I just.
Well, like they're putting them like this is the thing is like they're putting them in places. So like what they've said is actually true is they are putting them in places where there's like limited grocery store options anyway. So you're only competing with like bodegas in your area. and people hate shopping. Like, everyone in New York glazes bodegas, and it's like, dude, people hate buying groceries from there because, like, the milk's always expired, the eggs are always, cracked and whatnot. So, like, these will work really well. Are they going to make money? No, obviously, but it's like $70-90 million is what's cited. That's like a drop in the bucket for New York City.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they make money at all because the cost is going to get offloaded onto the city.
But what's more interesting is, okay, let's say they function for 10 to 15 years. The imperative question is, what does this do to SNAP? Are these going to be SNAP eligible? That's not up to Mamdani. That's up to the USDA. So if the USDA decides that, yes, like, municipal ran grocery stores will be SNAP eligible, then we're in trouble. Like, then you're going to see these pop up everywhere. If they're not, I don't actually think people will shop at these as much as you would think they would, because if they can get SNAP benefits at, Key Foods and they can't get it at Mamdani store, they're still going to go buy it at Key Foods.
So that's going to so who runs SNAP?
USDA.
USDA.
Yeah. So under Trump, they could totally screw with Mamdani.
Yeah, under Trump, but as soon as a Democrat gets in, the first thing you're going to do is say, oh,
well, the problem is SNAP is like, even under Democrats, SNAP and foods, like any sort of nutritional assistance, is like completely dictated by the private sector. Like, we literally had a bipartisan bill to make rotisserie chicken SNAP eligible, and you may be saying, "Oh, that's like No, it's because infamously rotisserie chickens are a loss leader at grocery stores. So obviously, like, the entire grocery store industry, Walmart, Tyson Foods, they're all lining up like, make rotisserie chicken SNAP eligible so you can, like, subsidize our loss leader. Brilliant move from them. So I actually don't think, I think that's like Mamdani's blind spot. I've seen a few pieces propose this, is like, look, if the USDA, even under a Democrat, doesn't play ball, then you're kind of cooked. Like, it's dead in the water, because most people are going to say, well, I can get my food basically free or for 50% at Key Foods, versus a 30% markdown at Mamdani land.
They'll just
immigrants will probably buy it.
They'll just sell their SNAP benefits, and so that way they can get the money and go buy it at the what's it called?
Maybe either way, like,
grocery store.
They'll still be buying from, because SNAP is federal dollars. So if you're Key Foods, you're still making your money. They don't care. They don't care where that money came from. So I guess what I'm getting at is, like, it's actually kind of a nightmare scenario if the USDA doesn't do anything. Because people will still keep Key Food. They'll keep all these grocery stores afloat with our money, and the Mamdani grocery store will do well. That's actually like a worst case scenario. Yeah. Trump has to come in here and say, and various other organizations, and say, no, you're not doing, that's stupid. You're not using SNAP benefits at Mamdani stores. Keep everything afloat, let them survive for 10 years, and then people get bored of it in 10 years. Because, like, I think that's the ultimate takeaway from Mamdani, is, like, you're getting more vape stores, more, like, people on mats selling trinkets. He's gonna, like, rage bait conservative media for another 3 years.
Yeah, like I said, I think that the fact that they're going to be successful for a short amount of time is going to turn into more DSA electoral victories. People are going to look at this and be like, look at what they're doing. They're helping people, and you're going to see far more people from the DSA and far more people with these type of programs on their platform list. You're going to see
if
that
they're
stuff.
SNAP eligible, they crush. Mamdani gets to tout that all day long.
Oh yeah.
They're not SNAP eligible. People still go to Key Foods, and they'll be like, well, at least our shelves are full. And, like, honestly, it'll probably be a lot of, like, hipsters that'll be shopping at them, if I had to guess. Like, I think it could turn into, like, if poor people aren't able to, if they don't want to use it because they can make more money buying from Key Foods, I could see it just become, like, a hipster thing to go to the Mamdani one in Hunts Point or whatever.
Could be, but I don't, anything that shines up the DSA, I think is bad long term.
Yeah. So, the feds have options here. I'm sure the USDA is on their radar. Will they do anything? Who knows?
Let's pull up this story. I don't know if you guys have seen this one. It was a couple months ago, but it's still going viral. NVIDIA's latest partnership could pay your entire electricity bill by turning your home into a mini data center. So someone apparently said they got $22,000 covered. They'll cover your electricity. Apparently, you got to pay them as a service, but then they cover your electrical costs and your internet costs or whatever. So you end up making back a lot more. And the theory is that we're not going to get data centers all over the place. This plan is to put mini data centers on every house possible. It's cheaper. No one's going to complain because they're getting benefit from it. And then you will have a much, much larger decentralized data machine instead of a large data center.
I like that. I think, like, okay, you read the headline, it's horrifying, but then you actually think about it, and you're like, I'm sure this provides, like, future governments or whatnot, like, options in case, like, people want to reclaim autonomy over these massive data brokers. That gives them tools at their disposal if they quite literally are just storing all their data locally. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think the problem is, I don't know exactly how it'd be wired up, but surely it's not actually storing your local data, it's just storing random data.
Did you guys know that Spider-Man, the last one that came out before this one, was 5 years ago?
Makes sense, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know. I thought
2021. They did 2017, 2019, 2021, 2026.
Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, right?
No. Tom Holland was Homecoming was 17, Far From Home was 19, and No Way Home was 21. And Brand New Day is 5 years later. The reason I bring that up is, can you believe it's been 5 years?
No.
I think everybody is bored of everything. And I bring this up in the context of the data centers because of what it means that 5 years passed. And it's like, man, really? Like the Spider-Man with Doctor Strange in it? Like that was 5 years ago? Wow. What were we doing for the past 5 years? The same thing every single day, the same stories over and over again, and then our brains just snapped.
It's like the blip.
It is. And I think I bring it up in the context of the data centers because as much as we're talking about, people want to be more analog, they want to hang out with their friends, I'm not entirely convinced because that's boring to people too. It's been 5 years and it's like, where is the time gone? Like, what are you doing? What are people doing? I think people are going to flock to these data center machines to get the mini universes. I think they're going to put on the neural bands, they're going to go into VR, and they're going to play video games. Wait for GTA 6 to come out.
Yeah, that'll be a really interesting...
Podcasts are dead, and it's going to be 70 million videos of GTA 6.
GTA 6, I think, is going to be like, if it's a good game, or at least a fine game, it'll be the biggest cultural moment of the 2020s. I genuinely believe that.
Yep. And
you're going to have their economists are predicting like a 5 to 6% decline in the economy. And I'm like that.
GTA 6
when it releases, because so many people will call out a sick.
Yeah, does it even need to be good?
Oh, I'm calling it sick.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, Phil. I can't make it. I got something came up. Family.
Oh, dude, I was planning on getting cancer around then, so I'll be out for like a week.
Just a week.
It's like a spot. Yeah, it'll be fine.
No, but ultimately, I just think that when we're talking about how people are bored with everything, what's new anymore? I feel like AI content fried our brains faster than we realized. Just getting videos of Charlie Kirk and George Floyd polka dancing together. It's like, I've seen it all, bro. I saw a video where Charlie Kirk turned into a baseball bat and then went gambling. I don't even know what I'm looking at these days. It's like a fever dream.
I saw the baseball bat come into a house party and then murder everyone with a baseball bat. Same guy.
Very avant-garde.
It was like watching a weird,
And the crazy thing was that V stepped into the crowd.
V stepped into the crowd?
Uh-huh. It's an AI content reference.
It's what?
Every other video on Instagram is titled "Tonight V stepped into the crowd."
I don't look at Instagram, so I don't know.
Oh, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, it's all identical. Random clips of the same thing over and over again in slightly different ways, AI generated. People are saying the same jokes. I've seen this. That joke like when you forget you're 40 and then you fall. Probably saw 500 of those identical.
I've seen a boatload of those.
Same house party, the fruit punch guy also came in and then put somebody inside of his fruit punch, and then
AI video, it's like taking someone's tongue and dumping, I don't know, just capsaicin all over it. Pure capsaicin. All of the spice of the world, all at once, and you're like, and then your tongue's charred, just like blistered, and you can't taste anything anymore. And you're like, I can't taste anything. That's kind of what it feels like with AI content.
I get how engrossing the swiping videos can be, because I do it on X sometimes. You watch a video, and next thing you know, you're 4 videos later or whatever. But I really just don't do that, sitting and swiping and stuff. So I don't.
You're an old man.
I am an old man, and I have a brand.
Young people are doing it. I went shopping with my wife, and it was like a women's clothing store, like a boutique in Virginia. And this lady comes in with 2 kids, and they immediately sit down on the floor and just start carousel content.
God.
And I'm literally watching them go.
Yeah, they should just unironically ban it. Seriously, there's not a good argument why it should still be legal. Personal freedom. It's dude, who cares? We're 20 years past.
That stuff terrifies me though. As I got 2 young kids at home, and I was walking my son and my dog one morning, and every single car that was going down the road. We walk to this spring training baseball field across the street from our place. Everybody was on their phone. And I went home to my wife. I'm like, we already were talking about, make sure our kids are not getting smartphones early. They're not going to be on the iPads. They're not going to be in front of the screens that much. But I mean,
how old are your kids?
15 months and just over 4 months.
Well, this is the white pill because I've got
a 9-month-old. And he doesn't watch TV. We obviously haven't given him a screen or anything. We keep the phones away from him. Like, he's living in a tactile world where, like, reality. And I've got some friends who have, they've got kids of similar age, and it's like they're talking about the shows they like and blah blah blah. And I'm like, none of that. We're probably not going to let my kid watch TV until he's.
Well, just think about like how messed up all of us are in this room at times with social media, with just scrolling, and then even if it's just scrolling video or it's just on X, and it's like I'm just reading one thing after another, and then I got to see what this next thing is, and I don't want to miss out.
Scrolling half the time, it just goes to the next one like automatically.
Exactly, and then now you have these kids, and it's just like, all right, they're going to be screwed. They're going to be totally brain dead.
I've got a 15-month-year-old. She's not having a fun. Right now, she has a calculator that doesn't work, so she pretends like, hello, like I'm on the phone. That's the closest.
This is the white pill. This is why, like, I'm actually kind of white pilled on whatever generation this is now. If this is like the tail end of Gen Alpha, or if it's something new. Anyway, because every new parent in the last that's had a baby in the last 3 to 5 years is saying the exact same thing in every single conversation, which is, no chance in Hades my kid's even touching a phone until they're 16, because they understand how much it's destroyed their life. Where I think, like, it is possible for things to get better. Like, it is possible that the culture is reacting.
I get what you're saying, but all you have to do is go to basically any family restaurant, and the idea that most people are doing that will be dashed.
But those people aren't going to be doing anything anyway.
Well, it doesn't matter. The idea that there's so many young people that, and I'm talking about little kids. You walk into a Cracker Barrel and sit down and have breakfast or whatever, and there's all around you kids with.
You need to go through the tough stuff. It's uncomfortable to go to restaurants and go out with kids at times. They're unruly.
And
they
took away the crayon.
And it
You have
sucks.
to go.
Yeah, but just play with the crayon.
You have to go knowing that if the kid does something wrong, you're gonna have to get up and leave.
You don't give them the iPad to be like, I hope that they just start forgetting, and then
they're gonna do something. You're gonna miss some meals. They're gonna do something wrong. You're gonna have to pick that kid up and be like, okay, we're done. You can't do that. You're done with your meal. We're going home now.
Short time uncomfortability to get some long-term comfort and some connection and peace, and you're setting like all these people are doing, and not to just dog on a bunch of parents, because I get there's times where if you're on a road trip, they're like, all right, if our road trip is longer than a couple hours or something, we'll give them an iPad to watch something for a little bit of time or whatever. But in general, if you're always going to go back to that, you're ruining your child.
Do the drive overnight so that way the kid falls asleep.
Yeah, we're seeing like another IQ filter. Like, we've seen lots of IQ filters set up in genetics over the last few decades. This is another one where you're basically dividing kids between parents that had high time preference and parents that had low time preference, and your time preference stems from your IQ. So you're seeing a lot of children are now getting nuked because their parents don't care about them, or they're they're dumb and they just can't read any articles. They're saying, do not give your kid an iPad, it's terrible, it will destroy their life. They're purposely ignoring it, or they're ignorant. Either way, it's not any positive traits I could attribute to someone that's just shoving an iPad so they shut their kid up. But what's going to happen is that kid's going to end up retarded, and then y'all's kids, y'all's very intelligent people who are raising your kids correctly, they're going to be fine because they weren't on screens all the time, and they're going to be bossing around the dumb kids. So it's just another IQ filter. That's
it's in the Time Machine. In the future, you've got these gaunt, thin, hyper-intelligent humans.
The Morlock and the Eloy.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's an IQ filter. This is people have talked about this for years, that we're kind of heading to this great filter where there's no longer going to be a middle class. It's just going to be the smart versus the dumb.
Thank God.
And it's but the problem though is we have IQ shredders where people that are really smart move to Austin and their birth rate drops to 0. So we kind of got to figure out how to stop IQ shredding from happening. But I think the iPads are creating a big divide.
We're going to go to the uncensored portion in a few minutes, but for now we're going to grab some of your Rumble rants and some chats, so smash that like button and share the show with everyone. We got Racist who says, Racist, what a name.
tapping in.
For Timcast tradition, please welcome a new U.S. patriot to the world. My beautiful wife delivered Atlas, our first, this morning, just before 8 a.m.
Congratulations.
Mom and son are both doing great. Let's go.
That's amazing.
David Flora says Tate would prefer camel races over horses because he's
Say a little
anti-American.
something into the mic.
What did I say that was anti-American?
Soccer fan, yeah.
You didn't say football.
No, yeah. I don't know. Camel races sounds kind of sick, actually. That would be kind of cool.
Soundless Step says, hey Timcast, did you know about Malcolm and Simone Collins and their channel Based Camp? They're super pro-natalist and Malcolm is a master manipulator of AI. I wonder if AI is just intending to be that filter. Like, you hear these stories. You hear that story about the guy who was convinced by AI that he, like, figured out how to save humanity? You see that story?
Yeah, and it's like these people are crazy anyway.
Yeah. He was, like, talking to ChatGPT, and it was like, you're so smart. How did you solve this problem? Only you can do it. And he was like, wow.
It's always like schizophrenic homeless people. Whenever you see these articles, like, I'm sorry, that's just like the red pill. It's never like,
A request, page 153. Book 6, Old France and the Revolution, Columbia University. Scene 5. Sanarelli enters on the stage, singing and holding a bottle. La la la. Valerie says, I hear someone singing and chopping wood. You can hear Sangarelli in the background. La la la. Really, I have done enough for one spell. Let us take a little breath. He drinks, and after this he says, this wood is devilish salt. And continues to sing, what pleasure so sweet as the bottle can give? What music so good has thy little gull? My fate might be envied by all on the earth, were my dear jolly flask but constantly full. Say why, my sweet bottle, I pray thee, say why, since full you're delightful, you're ever are dry. Come on, we must not have the blues. Valerie says, that is he himself. Lucas says, I think you're right. We've hit on him straight. Valerie says, let us look nearer. Sanarelli, seeing them, he looks at them, turning toward one of them, and then toward the other, lowers his voice and says, ah, my little rogue, how I love you, my pretty darling, my fair, my fate might be envied by all on the earth. What the deuce do these people want? Valerie says, it is surely he. Lucas says, that's him, the very spit of him, and he was made out of us. Sanarelli puts his bottle on the ground, and Valerie stooping down to salute him. He thinks it is in order to rob him of it. So he puts it on the other side. Then, as Lucas does the same thing, he takes it up again and hugs it against his stomach with various gestures, and so makes plenty of business aside. They are consulting each other while looking at me. What can they mean? Valerie says, Monsieur, is not your name Sanarelli? Aye, what? I ask you if your name is not Sanarelli. Sanarelli, turning first to Valerie, then to Lucas. Yes and no. It depends on what you want with him. Valerie says, we do not want anything with him except to offer him our cordial greetings. Sanarelli says, in that case, my name is Sanarelli. Valerie says, we are delighted to have met you, Monsieur. We have been recommended to you for what we are in need of. We have come to beg of your help, of which we are in want. Sanarelli says, if it is anything, gentlemen, that concerns my little trade, I am very ready to serve you. Valerie says, you are too kind to us, Monsieur, but pray put on your hat, Monsieur. The sun might hurt you. Lucas says, clap it on, master. Sanarelli, how very ceremonious these people are.